6 Tianlong, do you know that you have only been at work for half a month, and you have been late 13 times? In the office, Wang Ying severely reprimanded the 6 Tianlong in front of him. She was really furious. Having been a human resources manager for such a long time, it was the first time she met such an unreliable employee. Even if I were late for work, I was on the 14-day shift and was late 13 times. 5 times came at 9 o'clock in the morning and 6 times came at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This time is even more outrageous. You get off work at 6 o'clock, and you don't arrive until 5:60. Do you know that an employee like you can't be fired 100 times? Wang Ying was very angry. This 6 Tianlong is the driver of the Phoenix Group's fleet. Like the other 5 or 6 drivers in the fleet, he is usually responsible for picking up some guests and transporting goods. Today, she personally led a team to make a surprise inspection of work discipline, only to find out this bad guy. If it weren't for the company's high rollover period, and the drivers were not enough for the time being, she would have to fire the today. Wearing an ordinary white t-shirt and light-colored jeans, 6 Tianlong stood honestly opposite Wang Ying. He was also very aggrieved. He is not coming to work now, just to get something. How can he be late, at most absenteeism? But he didn't take Wang Ying's criticism at all, and he didn't even hear what Wang Ying said later. Now his whole mind is on Wang Ying. The 25-year-old Wang Ying, her face is not particularly outstanding, she is the kind of very attractive beauty, but her figure is absolutely top-notch. The willow waist was raised from the front and back, especially today she was wearing a tight-fitting black work clothes and a white shirt. The towering peaks seemed to be able to stretch out the clothes at any time, absolutely choppy. She sits opposite to 6 Tianlong. From this angle, it is even more shocking. Seductive. 6 Tianlong couldn't help but exclaimed. What are you talking about? Wang Ying was taken aback for a moment, then she was so angry. 6 Tianlong, what are you doing? Nothing, just take a look. 6 Tianlong said without concealment. What to look at? Don't look at it. Don't let it be too wasteful. 6 Tianlong mumbled, after a few glances, it won't get smaller. You bastard! Wang Ying flushed angrily and trembled. She is recognized by the company as the iron-faced female king. The employees did not dare to breathe when they saw her. Now this dares to comment on her figure openly. 6 Tianlong, you were fired. Expelled? Isn't it? I just looked at you and got fired? Is there any reason? Lu Tianlong felt that he was more wronged than Doi. The eyes can always be fixed on Wang Ying. If he is fired, there will be fewer chances to look again in the future. You give me out. Wang Ying was going crazy. Just go out. Anyway, it's about the same. 6 Tianlong whistled at Wang Ying and turned around smilingly. Wang Ying's phone rang suddenly. Hello, President, this is Wang Ying. What, do you want to use a car? Now? Good. 6 Tianlong, you come back to me. Wang Ying, who hung up, glanced at the 6 Tianlong who had already walked to the door, and hesitated. Let me go out and come back? If you let me go back, you can bully people. 6 Tianlong turned around. Wang Ying really wanted to rush to kill this bastard. The driver of the president temporarily asks for leave. The president needs to use the car now. The other drivers are away from get off work. Go. No. I have been fired. 6 Tianlong shook his head directly. Wang Ying took a deep breath and said, I now withdraw the expulsion order. Changing orders and evening changes is a big taboo for the company. Do you treat the order as a child's play, and are you worthy of the company? 6 Tianlong said seriously. Wang Ying's kikiao was smoking, and she really wanted to hit her head and die with this bastard. How can I go? It's very simple. 6 Tianlong looked back on Wang Ying's body and said with a smile, tell me the truth, what is yours so spectacular, is it natural or artificial? I killed you bastard! Don't run, stop for me! Wang Ying exploded in foul language for the first time in her life. In front of the Phoenix Group office building, Sol Lingyu was on the verge of madness. Sister Ying, why the car hasn't arrived yet? Can't get through? 6 Tianlong? You give me his phone number and I will find him myself. Sol Lingyu made the call anxiously, but the call you dialed could not be reached temporarily. She went to meet the customer in person today. This is a big order worth tens of billions. If it can be taken, the Phoenix Group will leap to a new level. The driver arranged by Wang Ying never arrived, and the phone could not be reached. Only 15 minutes were left before the time she made an appointment with the customer. Phoenix Group, an emerging trading company in Hyang City, has had a net profit of several hundred million after its establishment 2 years ago. It has been rated as one of the most promising companies in Hyang City for 2 consecutive years. What is even more interesting is that Sol Lingyu, the president of the Phoenix Group who created the myth of the Phoenix Group, has a superb body and face. He is a veritable goddess-level city flower in the entire Hyang City, nicknamed an iceberg beauty, and countless pursuers. However, for any suitor, she was merciless and refused directly, but she had never had a scandal with anyone. This also made more people feel ready to move, hoping to conquer this arrogant phoenix with both wealth and wealth. At this time, there was a sudden violent roar in the distance. Amidst the exclamation of passers-by, more than 24 latest Ferrari coupes roared in, neatly lined up not far from Sol Lingyu. One line. Dozens of workers got off the car quickly, each holding a lot of roses, and in a moment, they put out a big heart-shaped pattern in front of Sol Lingyu. A heart made of 99,999 roses. Among the crowd, a gentle and personable man in a white suit walked out slowly, and looked at each other with Sol Lingyu across the rose heart. He made a smile that he thought was the most attractive, and knelt down slowly on one knee. Lingyu, meeting you is the luck of my life, falling in love with you is the happiness of my life, without you, it is the regret of my life. Now I want to tell you loudly, I love you. Lingyu, promise me, be my girlfriend, okay? The grand confession scene. All the women present couldn't help screaming almost at the same time. If there is a man willing to put up such a position for them, let alone throwing arms, even the chrysanthemum will also contribute. Oh my God, that is the only son of the chairman of Heilong Group. Zheng Xiaofeng, one of the 4 young masters of Hyang. Someone recognized the man and immediately caused an exclaim. Heilong Group, one of the top groups in Hyang City, with total assets of hundreds of billions, is a veritable Big Mac. Zheng Xiaofeng is handsome, a bit European, young and promising. He is now the chairman of a listed company under Heilong Group. The screams and exclamations around made Zheng Xiaofeng's smile more confident. He didn't believe that any woman could refuse such a romance, even Sol Lingyu, who is known as the goddess of the iceberg, would definitely not. This time, he is bound to win Sol Lingyu. But at this moment, a Porsche Cayenne whizzed through the crowd and rolled straight over the 99,999 roses, leaving a few large wheel marks on it. It was another dashing brake flick, which stopped directly in front of Sol Lingyu. 6 Tianlong ran out of the car and didn't even look at Zheng Xiaofeng who was kneeling and Rose Heart, who was ruined by him. He wiped his sweat while explaining, "Sorry, boss, I took a pee after eating a meal." "Child time, are you late?" There was a gust of wind coming and going from the Porsche Cayenne. When everyone reacted, there was only a crushed Rose Heart in front of him, and Zheng Xiaofeng, who was on one knee and dumbfounded. "A foo! Look up what this kid comes from." Zheng Xiaofeng stood up, looking at Cayenne's buttocks, gritted his teeth, and said coldly to the younger brother beside him. Sol Lingyu, who was sitting in the back row, wanted to laugh but couldn't laugh. Her suffocated Mimi hurts, the rose that was cruelly crushed. Zheng Xiaofeng pursued her for a long time, and was rejected countless times by her. She didn't expect that he would make such a big scene to confess to herself today. When she was considering how to refuse, this guy came to the heavens and saved her from the fire. Although a bit reckless, he is still a cute guy. Seeing 6 Tianlong driving while wiping sweat, the corner of Sol Lingyu's mouth curled up unconsciously. She was going to forgive this guy for being late. But then, she found that she had made a huge mistake. "Boss, what happened to laugh so happily? I am also happy to say it." 6 Tianlong grinned into the rear-view mirror, and his gaze stayed on Sol Lingyu's towering tower for a second or two for several seconds. "Really stunner?" "No, concentrate on driving." Sol Lingyu regained her indifferent nature and said lightly. "Haha. Then I saw a particularly funny joke recently, or let me tell you about it." 6 Tianlong said with interest. Sol Lingyu was speechless for a while. Seeing his cheerful look, she couldn't bear to refuse. "Okay. But my joke is a bit yellow, don't you mind?" 6 Tianlong was a little embarrassed. Sol Lingyu in the back row was speechless again, and said cruelly, "Then skip Wang's." "Okay. Then I'm going to talk about it." "Skip skip skip skip, skip skip, finish talking. Why don't I tell you something more funny?" 6 Tianlong said with flying brows. "Do your job well. Drive the car to Linglong Clubhouse within 10 minutes. Sol Lingyu said coldly. If someone knew that she listened to a driver to talk about this kind of joke, it would be fine. 10 minutes? Are you sure? It's okay for my body to be strong, I'm afraid you won't." 6 Tianlong scratched his head. "What are you talking about?" Sol Lingyu said coldly. "This driver is too shameless. What makes you strong and okay is that I can't do it." "Boss, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about what you think. If that happens, I will be able to at least 1 hour." 6 Tianlong explained seriously. "Color embryo." Sol Lingyu overturned all the good impressions of this guy before, suppressing her anger, and said, 10 minutes, if you can get there, your salary will be doubled. If you can't, you won't have to come to work again." She deliberately made things difficult for 6 Tianlong, as a lesson for his restlessness. "It will take at least half an hour to get to Linglong Club from here, even if there is no traffic jam on the road." "Wow!" Bang! As soon as the voice fell, the 6DAY Dragon moved, the car's accelerator pedal was stepped onto the bottom, KN rushed out like a rocket, and the unsuspecting Sol Lingyu's head banged on the back seat and bounced back, hitting it. 7 meat and 8 vegetables. Then, KN ran on the streets of Hyang with extreme speed, slamming brakes, flicking cars, and even a 180-degree drift at an intersection. Sol Lingyu got out of the car with her mouth covered, ran to the trash can and began to vomit. 9.5 minutes. "Boss, my skills are all right? Don't forget to give me processing money." 6 Tianlong Pidian ran out of the car, ran to the front of Sol Lingyu after taking a lap, bending down to flatter her. This angle was planned by him before. Looking in from Sol Lingyu's collar, tisk tisk, 6 Tianlong felt a flow of heat straight to his nostrils. Definitely a stunner. Goddess-level face, devil-level figure, worthy of being Hyang City flower. I have to pick a flaw, that is, if the scale there is a little bigger, it will be truly perfect. This is not a problem, there is still room for opening. If such a woman does not soak, she will be condemned by God. 6 Tianlong shouted in his heart. Okay. Very good. Sol Lingyu didn't notice 6 Tianlong's hot gaze, she finally vomited a little better. Seeing that the time agreed with the client had already arrived, she didn't plan to care about 6 Tianlong anymore, she would definitely take this tomorrow. The guy is fired directly. Must be expelled. Thinking in her heart, she stepped towards the gate of Linglong Clubhouse. "Boss, wait a minute." 6 Tianlong chased him up again. "Your head is messed up, your clothes are dirty, and your hood is crooked." "Hey, boss, would you like me to help you tidy it up? Don't go so fast, wait. Wait for me. The large private box of Linglong clubhouse is decorated as a palace. Zhang Chu? Why are you? Pushing the door in, So Lingyu recognized the man sitting on the white sand at a glance. In his 20s, he was thin and handsome, with a madness in his eyes. Like Zhang Xiaofeng, Zhang Chu, one of Yang's 4 young masters, has a family background comparable to Zhang Xiaofeng, and the eldest son of the president of Yang's other giant Ascendas group. Also one of So Lingyu's suitors. The only difference is that So Lingyu has a worse impression of Zhang Chu compared to Zhang Xiaofeng, who just made a rose confession. This is a typical costume animal. It is said that his hobby is to play with women, especially student girls. Banknotes were smashed into bed and thrown away after playing. Last year, a female student was thrown off a building to commit suicide when she was pregnant. Lingyu, you are here. Sit down. Taking a look at So Lingyu, Zhang Chu swallowed hard and smiled. Where is the CEO of Changhong Group? So Lingyu asked with a frown. This time she had an appointment with CEO of Changhong Group to discuss the tens of billions of export agency projects. Haha, Mr. Wang has a temporary business, but he has already explained that I am solely responsible for this business. Zhang Chu smiled. Then I won't do this business. So Lingyu turned around and left. Lingyu, feelings belong to feelings, business belongs to business, a big bill of tens of billions, don't give up because of feelings, you have to be responsible for thousands of employees in Phoenix Group. Okay, come and sit down first, we will only talk about business today. Feelings. Zhang Chu sitting on the sand said with a smile. Zhang Chu, if you dare to play tricks, don't blame me for turning your face. So Lingyu hesitated for a while, said coldly, and finally sat down on the sand. She does need this order now, for the Phoenix Group and for herself. No, no. Come on, make a toast before discussing business, I wish our cooperation can be successful. By the way, I managed to get this from the French Chateau Modane Heroes. This bottle costs $10,000. Zhang Chu smiled and opened the exquisite bottle of red wine in front of him. Boom! The door was opened, and 6 Tianlong, sweating profusely, broke in. This clubhouse is like a maze. I wandered around for 5 laps and finally found you the boss. I'm so exhausted, let me have a drink first. Ha, there is red wine? It smells good. My favorite. Drink. Don't mind a bite. Seeing the wine bottle in front of Zhang Chu, 6 Tianlong breathed intoxicated, swished over, grabbed it and poured it into his mouth. Zhang Chu and So Lingyu looked stunned. 2 bodyguards of Zhang Chu followed, but couldn't figure out the identity of 6 Tianlong, and didn't dare to act rashly. When they reacted, a bottle of wine had already entered 6 Tianlong's stomach. Tisk tisk, the taste is okay, boss, do you still have another bottle to taste? A bottle of red wine was in the belly, and the 6 days of dragons were still not enough. Where the did you come from? Zhang Chu is going crazy. Before he can taste the $100,000 red wine, he was all poured into his stomach like a drink of water by this guy? I still want a bottle. You think this is the Great Wall Dry Red? Clean your mouth. This is my driver. It's just a bottle of wine. I'll pay you for the big deal. So Lingyu said coldly. Although she was also dumbfounded by Lu Tianlong, she secretly breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't want to be alone with Zhang Chu, let alone drinking with him. Now that 6 Tianlong is here, with him present, she feels somewhat emboldened. Well, I want to discuss business with Xiao Zhang, you go and eat something casually. So Lingyu ordered. Talk about business? Then you talk, I don't bother you, I'll just sing 2 songs to cheer you up. Seeing the microphone next to him, 6 days of dragon ran over happily. You go out first. Ling Yu, where did you find such a superb driver? Zhang Chuqiang waved away the two unfulfilled bodyguards. If he didn't want to behave better in front of So Ling Yu, he would have been mad, and now he could only force 6 Tianlong to pick up soap 100 times in his heart. When So Ling Yu is settled, he must be cleaned up. Don't talk about him, let's talk about Changhong Group's agency business first. Taking a look at the 6 Tianlong who was playing with the microphone, So Ling Yu said coldly. Zhang Chu waved his hand, whatever works, we have to have a drink before talking about it. We have to improve the atmosphere first so that we can better discuss business. With that said, he reopened another bottle of red wine and poured 2 glasses, and handed a glass to So Ling Yu. I don't know how to drink. So Ling Yu refused. Then you can take a sip as you like, I will respect it first. Zhang Chu smiled. So Ling Yu had no choice but to lift the cup and bang with him, squeezing. Wow, sister, go forward boldly, go forward, don't look back. In the elegant and quiet box, 6 Tianlong roared coldly, shaking the world and weeping. Zhang Chu was so scared that he trembled, and a glass of red wine was poured directly into his neck. So Ling Yu was even more direct. The red wine that had just entered her mouth sprayed Zhang Chu's face directly. What the are you doing? Zhang Chu was going crazy, the kid So Ling Yu brought was definitely not a driver, he was just crazy. It seems a bit out of tune, or I'll sing it again for you. 6 Tianlong scratched his head, apologetically. Don't sing. So Ling Yu wanted to laugh, her suffocated face flushed, and she now thinks 6 Tianlong is cute again. Turning his head to look at Zhang Chu who was extremely embarrassed, and said, I'm sorry Zhang Xiao, I see today's situation, it is not suitable for any more talks, let's make an appointment to talk again. Zhang Chu couldn't help it if he didn't want it. All his good moods were lost by this superb neurosis. Even if So Ling Yu was taken, he might not be able to rise. Okay, let's make an appointment another day. By the way, can you let him stay for a while, I think he is quite interesting, I have a few words to tell him. He pointed at 6 Tianlong. So Ling Yu instinctively wanted to shake her head, but the 6 Tianlong over there grinned, and said, Zhang Xiao wants to talk to me? No problem. I also think it's good luck with Zhang Xiao. Boss, you go out and wait for me, I will soon pass. You, well, I'll be waiting for you outside, come out quickly. So Ling Yu glared at him, but he had already agreed, and So Ling Yu couldn't say more, turned and left. Tisk tusk. What a nice little butt. It's a pleasure to watch. If you find a chance, you must try it. Seeing So Ling Yu twisting and twisting out, 6 Tianlong praised her and stretched out her hand in a very awkward gesture. Zhang Chu was completely mad. This really thought he kept him here to talk to him? Didn't he feel his monstrous anger? You're a driver. You drank $100,000 of red wine too? Do you still want to get involved with So Ling Yu? Zhang Chu fisted and shouted. What's wrong with the driver? The cook who doesn't want to be a general is not a good driver. Lu Tianlong glanced back at him and said with a smile, besides, you can drink red wine and soak your sister, why can't I be a driver? You said I'm a chop. Zhang Chu's eyes widened. No matter how big your eyes are, it's a shit, at most it's a big eye. 6 Tianlong squinted lightly. You're looking for death. Zhang Chu smirked, reaching out and slapped his chin. The two bodyguards who had been waiting at the door soon entered the box. Hit me, kill this bastard. I am responsible for all the consequences. Zhang Chu finally exploded and spread his anger on 6 Tianlong. Two black-clad bodyguards with a height of horses rushed to Tianlong without hesitation. 6 Tianlong smiled and turned to look at them. At this moment, the two bodyguards stiffened, shivering for no reason. The smile was evil, and the evil made the two of them feel a chill in their hearts. This is not the look a driver should have at all. What are you doing in a daze? Give it to Lao Tzu. Jiang Chu shouted angrily from behind. The two bodyguards gritted their teeth, and after all they rushed up from the left and the right. The one on the left made his hand first, hitting Lu Tianlong's head with an uppercut, and the one on the right kicked and swept his waist. At first glance, they have been professionally trained, their strength is perfect, and they work together seamlessly. The smile on Tianlong's face spread, and he even took the time to tidy up, and then shot. The fist came first, hitting under the armpit of the punching bodyguard, his right leg kicked out, almost at the same time kicking on the kicking bodyguard's calf. Crack it, click it. Two crisp fractures were particularly piercing in the box. The two bodyguards screamed and exited at the same time, but Six Tianlong deceived themselves like a ghost, and slapped two standard hand knives on the necks of the two, even screaming. No, the two bodyguards fell softly. What? Behind Jiang Chu was stupid, and did not respond for a long time. These two bodyguards were hired by a professional bodyguard agency at a great expense. It is said that they both stayed in the training camp in Siberia, and they were both masters against 10. How come the two of them are all lying down with a flower in front of you? Zhang Xiao, you are also a person with a face anyway, please be like these two bodyguards, don't you feel ashamed? You think it is good, you can eat and stay, I will be a bodyguard for you, how about? The cold light in Six Tianlong's eyes dissipated, and he regained his dignified appearance, and walked to Jiang Chu with a smile. Ah, good, good. Jiang Chu nodded instinctively before fully waking up from the shock. Six Tianlong slapped him on the head, and said with a smile, "Oh, your mother is so big, you want to win me and treat me like someone. Long brother, I have a principle. But if you take care of everything, if I live in charge of my sister, I can consider it. Do you dare to play with me? Do you know who I am?" Jiang Chu finally realized that Six Tianlong was playing him. "I care who you are the one who is playing. I'm not convinced? Believe it or not, I can even stab you with this fist now." Six Tianlong waved his fist and said. Jiang Chu immediately counseled. Even the two professional bodyguards are not the opponents of the Six Tianlong. If he refuses to accept it, he might really be stabbed in the chrysanthemum. Why don't you speak any more? Do you want to find someone to come to me to settle the account? No problem. Six Tianlong squinted his eyes and suddenly slammed his fist on the marble coffee table next to him. If you want to make trouble, I'll accompany you at any time. However, if you use this kind of abuse in red wine next time to deal with the woman I like, don't blame Long brother. You are welcome. Also, don't take the driver as dry food. The coffee table made of hard marble collapsed without warning at this moment. At the gate of the clubhouse, Six Tianlong saw Solingya, who was about to walk inside, and greeted him with a smile. "Boss, are you worried about my safety?" Being passionate. "I just got something inside." Solingya glared at him, turned and walked towards the car. "What is Jiang Chu looking for you?" "Oh, it's nothing. He said that I have reached the point of singing proficiency. He wanted to worship me as a teacher and learn from me, but I strictly refused." Solingya was speechless, she had never seen such a cheeky guy. "Boss, don't move." Just as he was about to leave, Six Tianlong suddenly shouted, hurried forward, rushed to the front of Solingya with lightning speed, and quickly licked her face. "Tisk tusk, one drop of $100,000 of red wine will cost hundreds, which is a pity. It's not bad, the wine smells more delicious." Solingya accidentally spilled a drop of red wine on her face in the box just now, but she never noticed it. You bastard! I'm going to kill you." Solingya's small face flushed with a sigh, her face was full of anger, like a raging little lion. She was angry and ashamed, and never had any man been so close to her since she was a child. Today, she was licked by the Six Tianlong who met for the first time. Yes, it was licked by his big tongue. Without saying anything, she raised her fist and rushed towards Six Tianlong. Can the public pay attention to the image? I don't have a daughter-in-law, so what kind of style is it? Still hitting? I will fight back again. The driver is also dignified. 6 Tianlong dodged and said seriously. You bastard! Soling suffered a dumb loss, seeing that many people around her looked towards her, stomped angrily and got into the car directly. Boss, you don't need to be angry. I'm also out of good intentions. It's shameful to waste. You don't want to be a shameful person, right? Besides, you don't suffer. You have to think that I deliberately wanted to take advantage of you. Can you lick it back? I promise not to resist. In the car, 6 Tianlong persuaded Soling with a tight face. Shut up. Soling didn't want to say another word to this man. Why don't I tell you another joke? 6 Tianlong tentatively asked. I told you to shut up. Drive. Soling was already on the verge of collapse. I don't understand the style. Okay, where are we going? 6 Tianlong didn't continue to stimulate her, and started the car. Soling phone rang at this time. She glanced at the number and hung up without hesitation. The phone rang again, hung up, and rang again. In the end, Soling gave in and put the call to her ear. Inside is a magnetic baritone. Satsuki, I am a father, how are you doing? I'm having a good time. If you just ask this question, I'll hang up. Soling said coldly. Well, I just want to remind you that time is running out before our Toyer appointment. Snapped. Before finishing talking over there, Soling hung up the phone. A Toyer appointment. Damn 2 years. Looking out the window, thinking about the phone call just now, thinking about what happened at night, Soling eyes flashed with confusion, and then she was a little upset. She wanted to drink, she wanted to vent. Go to the bar. The confusion in Soling eyes could not escape 6 Tianlong's eyes. It seems that this woman is also a person with a story. 6 Tianlong smiled and drove to the bar named by Soling. The bar has 3 treasures, the drinks are expensive, the atmosphere is good, the beautiful girls wear less, and they can do it casually. As one of the hottest night scenes in Hyang, so is the bar. The world's best music, crazy crowd, twisting body, a strong hormonal smell in the air. Soling seemed to seldom come to such a place, and was a little overwhelmed by the hot atmosphere inside. The boss comes with me, I know this place. 6 Tianlong greedily glanced at the crazy girls on the dance floor, and walked to the second floor of the road, and found a relatively hidden compartment to get in. Sitting in this position can almost overlook the entire dance floor. Looking at those girls from this angle, they look like ridges and peaks, and each ditch is different. Bring a few bottles of your most valuable wine. 6 Tianlong called the lobby manager over and gave a loud shout. The most expensive wine? Sir, we have 88 law fights and 76,000 grants. Is it okay? The fat manager reported the report with a smile, but didn't mean to take it. He glanced at 6 Tianlong calmly, with some doubts in his eyes. What is this guy, rich second generation? It's not like, t-shirts and jeans are cheap at first glance. What to look at? I'm a driver, even if I have money, I won't buy your kind of cheating wine. But our boss doesn't care, I let you take it. 6 Tianlong stared. Soling gritted her teeth, endure it, who has ever seen a driver who pits his boss? Boss? Oh. Okay, come right away. He glanced at Soling on the opposite side, the fat manager's eyes suddenly brightened, he often mixes in the night scenes, his eyes are thief, this girl is punctual, she is so beautiful, she may not go to nightclubs often, she looks a little bit cautious, but definitely a rich girl. Only the piece of Patek Philippe on the wrist can't be bought by hundreds of thousands. Do you often come to this kind of place? Soling said coldly, holding her shoulders and looking at 6 Tianlong looking for a girl. It's okay, just come here to see the girl if it's okay. There is a great man who said that if you are a real warrior, you must dare to face the white girl. Dare to challenge the open and spicy girl. 6 Tianlong laughed. Looky. Soling Yu gave him a fierce look, and was still worried about the guy licking her just now. Ha! Color is emptiness, emptiness is color. Boss, you seem to have something on your mind, don't think about it so much. There is wine now and now drunk, it is rare for a beautiful man to accompany you and have a drink. I can drink for you, anyway you pay for it. The requested wine was on the table, and 6 Tianlong poured a glass for the two of them, and raised their heads to see the bottom. Soling Yu hesitated for a moment, and finally gritted her teeth and learned the appearance of a 6-day dragon. She raised her small head and poured everything into her mouth. She couldn't drink enough, and her small face flushed to the base of her neck. One more cup. If it doesn't work, just say, there's me. 6 Tianlong has another cup bottomed out. Soling Yu was so cruel, she also poured in. After 2 cups, she started to feel a little dizzy. Men can't say no, women can't say casual. I'm doing this cup, you just want to. 6 Tianlong raised his neck and got another cup. This bastard. Soling Yu gritted her teeth and poured the wine into her mouth. After a few consecutive cups, she was already confused, looked at the figures of Chua Chua around her, sighed, and said, wine is really a good thing. It can make people forget their troubles, but what about waking up? Hearing what she said, a sorrow flashed in the eyes of the 6-day dragon, and another glass of wine entered his belly, and said lightly, life is in a variety of ways, and things are impermanent. Just look away. The appearance of him at this time, there is no longer a little bit of swaying before, the pain and vicissitudes in his eyes flashed Soling Yu's heart suddenly. This man seems to be a little different from the others. Why, there is something sad about you, a foolish fellow. Soling Yu pouted. The past is unbearable, let's not mention the messy things. Let's get drunk today. 6 Tianlong recovered his smile and had another drink with Soling Yu. Okay. Then I will indulge with you as a scumbag today, not drunk, or return. What kind of troubles, I'll go to hell. But tomorrow, you will me, I don't want to see you again. After a few cups, Soling Yu, who was too powerful to drink, also let go, rolled up her sleeves and waved her pink fist viciously. Okay. As far as the mind is, I will roll as far as you want. 6 Tianlong laughed. Next, the two clinked glasses again and again. 6 Tianlong had nothing to do, and Soling Yu had already started to wander around. Do you want to have something more exciting? 6 Tianlong suddenly leaned forward and said mysteriously. Why, do you want to go to bed with me? Soling Yu sneered with a crimson face, feeling the unique man's breath. What kind of bed? Don't think so dirty. Okay, of course, if you strongly ask me to think about it. 6 Tianlong laughed, suddenly stood up, pulled Soling Yu up and walked out. I was crying and making noises just after making out, I really don't understand what you are doing. Going? Go all the way, if you are not afraid of death, come here often. In the living room, seeing 6 Tianlong coming out, Murongwaner, who was lying on the sand reading a novel, yelled playfully. Soling Yu glared at her from behind, and the little girl's eyes were bent into crescents, and she made a face at 6 Tianlong. 6 Tianlong, who had already walked to the door, thought for a while, turned around and walked in front of Murongwaner, bent over to her ear and said a word, making this girl petrified in an instant. Little sister, brother tells you something, in fact, a man Ding Ding has no bones. In a hidden place downstairs, a beautiful figure stood there quietly, unable to see her face, just a silhouette was enough to overwhelm the country. She was slightly tired and seemed to sleep up all night. The expression looked a little nervous, and the two small hands were tightly pinched together, staring at the stairs. Seeing 6 Tianlong walking out of the stairs and whistling away, Her spirit finally collapsed completely, and she slumped to the ground slowly. 2 lines of clear tears flowed down her cheeks slowly. He really has other women. It's over. It seems that everything is really over. After a long time, she got up slowly, wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes, her expression became determined, and after a few got up, she disappeared completely without a trace. As if never appeared. When 6 Tianlong walked out of the gate of the community, he was shocked when he turned on his mobile phone. 28 missed calls and 7 unread text messages. 6 Tianlong, where are you? The president is waiting in front of the building, go. Wang Ying. 6 dragons, where are you? After receiving the reply. The president rushes to use a car. Wang Ying. Natural. 6 Tianlong, you bastard, quickly call my grandma, the president will use the car now. You will be dead if you don't show up again. After reading the text messages, 6 Tianlong almost laughed. It was basically a urging text message from Wang Ying, the human resources manager, before receiving Sol Lingye yesterday. Natural is natural. 6 Tianlong can think of the way she gritted her teeth when she sent this text message. President, are you looking for me? In the office of the president, Wang Ying said respectfully. Sol Lingye, who was staying, recovered and said lightly, well, Sister Ying, the driver you sent yesterday, Tianlong, should be fired today, and he will be compensated with an extra 3 months' salary. Expulsion? President, do you think about it again? Although he is a little uncomfortable, he is often late, but I have investigated, and the employees have evaluated him pretty well, and every time he works. Wang Ying tried to explain. Sister Ying, do what I want. Sol Lingye raised her head, her tone of voice increased, her eyes complicated. This asked her for the first time, she never wanted to see him again. Wang Ying had no choice, well, I'll go to him now. By the way, President Su, I just answered a few calls and wanted to invite you to dinner. I said you were busy recently and I pushed him. Well, I see. In the future, such calls will just hang up. Sol Lingye knows very well that the people who call are definitely those who want to soak her up. She had told Wang Ying a long time ago that she would turn down all such calls. But the more she pushed, the invitations kept increasing, making her more irritable. At this time, her cell phone rang. She glanced at the number and hung up without hesitation. The phone rang again, then hung up, rang again, and persisted. Sol Lingye gritted her teeth and put the call to her ear. Lingye, this is Zhang Xiaofeng. I organized a small cocktail party tonight, do you have time to participate in it? Zhang Xiaofeng's gentle voice came from inside, very magnetic. When encountering a nymphomaniac, just this voice can be conquered, let alone Zhang Xiaofeng's identity as the young master of the Heilong group. But for Sol Lingye, there is only boredom, she is in a bad mood now. No. She refused simply. Zhang Xiaofeng over there was not upset, and smiled, haha. I sincerely invite you. Those who will be here tonight are all celebrities from Hyang. Know more about you, or for Phoenix Group. Benefit. Sol Lingye coldly refused again, I said, I'm not free. Lingye, I know you want to escape, but I tell you clearly, no matter how you refuse, I will never give up on you. I will definitely chase you unless you have a boyfriend. Zhang Xiaofeng was there. Cut the railroad at the edge. Sol Lingye felt annoyed, I said, we have no possibility at all. And, I already have a boyfriend, I hope you won't bother me again. What? You already have a boyfriend? Impossible. How could you have a boyfriend? Zhang Xiaofeng firmly didn't believe it. Sol Lingye sneered and said, why can't I have a boyfriend? It seems to have nothing to do with you. Well, if you really have a boyfriend, then bring the wine tonight to show me, otherwise, I will never give up on you. Zhang Xiaofeng firmly said. Okay, if you want to watch it, I'll let you watch it tonight. Solingyu hung up bitterly. Then I regretted it a little bit. I just said that I had a boyfriend in a hurry. Who would have thought that Zhang Xiaofeng would still be reluctant? Where can I find a boyfriend to show him? But if you don't bring it, Zhang Xiaofeng will definitely be entangled. The thought of him and the other suitors made Solingyu very upset. There is not much time left for her now, and the two-year agreement with her father will soon expire, and she has no energy to focus on these boring guys, and no time to talk about love. Tonight, I'm looking for a boyfriend to take him over, and cut off Zhang Xiaofeng's thoughts early. Otherwise, he will be entangled in the future. But, where do you find a boyfriend in one day? Solingyu gritted her teeth and thought about it. At present, it seems that only this is the most suitable. She was thinking about it in her heart, and suddenly stopped Wang Ying, who had already walked to the door. Wait, Sister Ying, I changed my mind. Okay. Wang Ying, who had already stepped out of the room door, said quickly to her, General Manager Su, there is really no need to fire him directly. We can consider transferring him to another place, or working as a team. The driver is only responsible for the transportation of goods in remote areas. No. Solingyu said with a complicated complexion, I already have other arrangements. 6 Tianlong had breakfast on the street, and then went directly to the company. As soon as he entered the team office, he was surrounded by 4 or 5 animals. Tianlong, the sun came out from the west today? You came to work at 10. Tianlong, I heard that you were scolded by Wang Ying's lady yesterday? Didn't you cut you? Tianlong, they said you took President Su to talk about business yesterday. Tianlong, is President Su pretty? Isn't his skin tender and does his body smell good? A few guys, like 6 Tianlong, are all drivers of the team. They range from their 20s to 40s. They have similar smells. 6 Tianlong has only been here for half a month, and they have become a part of them. Is my skin tender? Does my body smell good? I'm sorry, I just touched it, but didn't pay much attention. 6 Tianlong laughed. Cut. You are a little driver who can still climb on President Su's bed? Did you climb up in a dream? You can't say that. I'll tell you that Brother Tianlong is not an ordinary person. Besides, there is spring in the silk. Brother Tianlong, if you have a chance to touch President Su in the future, please remember to let I'll wash my hands after I smell it. The most wretched-looking Xiao Wu in the team exhorted. What are you doing? What should you do? Everyone was discussing in full swing, and a pretty girl appeared at the door pinching her waist. Feng Yongling, 20 years old, is dispatched by the team office. She usually arranges tasks for drivers like 6 Tianlong. The length is medium to upper, not an absolute beauty, but she has a good body, and she is a match for Wang Ying. He has a very strong personality. If anyone offends her, he can do the dirty work. However, she was quite good to 6 Tianlong. 6 Tianlong was late for many times and was not seen, and she was helping to cover it. Ha, Xiaoling is here, you two talk, let's withdraw. A few people scattered like birds and beasts, leaving Feng Yongling and 6 Tianlong in the huge office. Xiaoling, today is more beautiful than yesterday. 6 Tianlong said hello with a smile. Hey! Don't come to this one, do you know that manager Wang Ying criticized me because of you? Feng Yongling said aggrieved. Fork! That stinky old lady dare to criticize my Xiaoling? See if I won't swell her face later. 6 Tianlong patted his chest. Feng Yongling immediately smiled like a flower, and said with a sweet smile, okay. I will be satisfied if you have this heart. By the way, I am here to inform you that manager Wang Ying will let you go to her office. That's great, I will meet her first, and we will talk again when we come back. Yeah, there is a bug on the ass. I shoot. 6 Tianlong slapped Feng Yongling's lightly. Bad. Feng Yongling glared at him. She doesn't seem to be here now, or do you tell a joke before you go? When she is all right, 6 Tianlong likes to tell her jokes. No problem. 6 Tianlong opened his mouth. The ant and the centipede are married. After the bridal night, when asked to feel, the ant said with grief and anger, feeling a fart, breaking a leg is not, breaking a leg is not. Nepal Ma broke her legs all night, but finally couldn't find a place. You're good or bad, you're good or bad, how about telling such a joke to others? Feng Yongling coquettishly beat 6 Tianlong's arm. Tell me one more. Okay. Then there will be a question to test you. 6 Tianlong thought for a while, and said, Q, what do you have in common when a radish is broken and a woman is pregnant? Ah? What does a broken radish have in common with a woman's pregnancy? Feng Yongling bit her finger into thinking, I don't know, let's talk about it, what are the common points? Want to know the answer? No problem, let me touch it. 6 Tianlong pointed at Feng Yongling with a smile. You're so bad. Okay, you can only touch it. Feng Yongling blushed and bowed her head shyly after looking around no one. 6 Tianlong laughed loudly, stretched out his arm, and flexed his finger lightly. I can clearly feel her whole body trembling. The common point is, it's too late. It's too late? Hey? You are good or bad? Feng Yongling stomped and acted coquettishly at the 6 Tianlong who was laughing away. After 6 Tianlong walked away, she looked down at the place where she had just been bombed, and said to herself with a faint expression on her expression, this would, don't you know what other people think? 6 Tianlong looked a little hairy by Wang Ying on the opposite side. After receiving Feng Yongling's notice, when she came to Wang Ying's office, the lady stared at herself without saying anything. 6 Tianlong felt a little at a loss. Manager Wang, just tell me if you have anything to say. Don't look at me like a deep-seated woman, let others see it, and think what I did to you. Then I was wronged, not just yesterday. Have you glanced at your breasts? Well, if you really don't want me to look at it, will it not be possible for me to sneak a look in the future? I just came back from the president's office. President So feels that you are no longer suitable to continue working in the team. Wang Ying had been mentally prepared and automatically filtered out the ridicule about her. Oh, it turned out to be this, but it scared me to death. President So is going to fire me, right? 6 Tianlong laughed, and when So Lingyu came out in the morning, he was mentally prepared. Wang Ying shook her head and said with weird eyes, no, starting today, you will be transferred to the assistant president of Phoenix Group. Assistant to the president? Isn't the position low, right? 6 Tianlong was happy. Not low, in terms of level, it's half a level higher than me. But Wang Ying looked at Lu Tianlong and said, your job is the assistant to the president. The specific job is to drive the car for President Su. This time, Tianlong is speechless. What is the assistant to the president? To put it bluntly, it is So Lingyu's full-time driver. Didn't fire herself, and asked herself to be an assistant to the president who only cared about driving. What kind of crazy is So Lingyu? Oh, I see, if there is nothing else, I will go back first. 6 Tianlong thought for a while and laughed. Wang Ying was a little puzzled, and curiously said, 6 dragons, don't you feel surprised? Surprised? What's so surprising? I am like a firefly in the dark, so bright and so windy when I go there. To be a driver, I must also be the highest-ranking driver. 6 Tianlong walked out while stinking. When approaching the door, she turned her head and smiled at Wang Ying and said, Sister Ying, you are actually only in your 20s this year. In your most beautiful years, there is no need to make yourself so mature and rigid. With less makeup and more smile, you will be more sunny and more attractive. The important thing is that the neckline should be opened a little bit larger and leak a little more. Hurry up! Wang Ying grabbed the notebook on the table and smashed it. It's good to be a woman, let's release it boldly. 6 Tianlong laughed and walked away. Sex embryo. Wang Ying cursed with gritted teeth. 5 minutes later, she sneaked a glance like a thief and saw that there was no one around. She hesitated slightly, blushing, and quietly unbuttoned a button on her shirt. As soon as the news of 6 Tianlong's appointment as assistant to the president came out, the whole team suddenly boiled over. Several guys clamored for him to treat him in a good restaurant. 6 Tianlong naturally has no problem, and agreed with them to wait a few days when they are free to organize. My little master, let me count, and I know that our team's little temple can't accommodate Tianlong brother. He is the dragon among men, and today is the beginning of his takeoff. The most wretched little Wu in the team shook his head and said, "Let you blow, come on, brothers, and light this kid's sky lantern." I don't know who screamed first, and the crowd rushed forward, holding down the thin Xiao Wu, and happily taking off his pants directly, revealing the squeamish Tintin inside. "You guys, you have done too much." Looking at the people who are clamoring together, 6 Tianlong separated and persuaded them. Without waiting for Xiao Wu to express his gratitude, Lu Tianlong suddenly bends over, and flexes his finger at his ding-ding fiercely. "Oh! You guys are real animals." Xiao Wu jumped up, clutching his crotch, grinning painfully, "You are cruel, but if you count me, I will know that I have this disaster today." Everyone was laughing and joking, but saw the team dispatcher Feng Yongling walk in with a grieved expression. "Xiao Lingling, Tianlong is going to treat her in a few days, will she go there?" De Laozhong asked. "Don't go. Some people have been promoted, don't remember me." Feng Yongling looked at 6 Tianlong with a bitter expression. "Xiaoling can't bear to leave Tianlong, haha." Everyone roared. 6 Tianlong also laughed, cast an ambiguous look in the past, and said, "Who said that? Anyway, I am still here, and I will come back to tell you jokes often." "Really?" Feng Yongling's eyes lit up. "Must." 6 Tianlong nodded and promised. "That's good. Be sure to call me when you eat. I'll pack my stuff first, and come back later to tell me a joke." Feng Yongling left happily. The eyes of everyone looking at 6 Tianlong became ambiguous. "Tianlong, Xiao Lingling is very interesting to you. Your little Yanfu is not shallow." The 30-year-old Zhang came up. "It's necessary, we Tianlong are people who love flowers and drive a car with a punctured tire." "Young master, I will count. I know that Tianlong brother has committed peach blossoms in this life, and there are countless women." Xiao Wu shook his head and said. After a while, everyone who should get out of the car, and the delivery that should be delivered, are also scattered. 6 Tianlong became the assistant to the president, but the actual job was Sol Lingyu's full-time driver. Mainly responsible for transporting Sol Lingyu to and from get-off work, and Sol Lingyu's daily car. "I heard that Sol Lingyu has been busy with a big list these days, and there are not many days to go out during the day, so 6 Tianlong is quite leisurely." He was wandering around the company in the morning and was telling a joke to Feng Yongling in the afternoon, but at about 4 o'clock he received a call from Sol Lingyu that she was going out. When 6 Tianlong drove to the office building, Sol Lingyu was already waiting there. The girl could not hide the anger in her eyes when she saw the heartless smile of 6 Tianlong. She gritted her teeth and resisted. "Boss, where shall we go?" 6 Tianlong started the car and asked. "Arirang Mall." Sol Lingyu said coldly. "Are you going to buy clothes?" 6 Tianlong asked. "Arirang Mall is a high-end shopping area in Hyang City. The world's top fashion brands have franchise stores there. You should buy more clothes for yourself. You always wear this set of work clothes all day long, and you don't have much energy to look at." 6 Tianlong glanced up and down at Sol Lingyu's exquisite figure from the rear-view mirror, and then said, "I'll give you a suggestion. In view of your body shape, you should wear tight-fitting clothes to show your hot body." The best color is lighter, which matches your fair skin better. Yes, you can also try a short skirt, but it can't be too short, because you have a small mole on your butt. I saw it last night. 6 Heavenly Dragon, you shut up. Solingya was very angry, with serious consequences, dare to mention that last night, get off the car right away. Crunch! 6 Tianlong braked to the end, and the car stopped in the middle of the road. Solingya couldn't react for a while, and her head hit the headrest in the front row. What are you doing? Aren't you letting me get out of the car? As your employee, you must resolutely obey the leadership arrangement. 6 Tianlong said seriously. You, drive. Soling's moony mimi hurts. That's right, a girl has eggs in her mouth all day long, how bad the influence is, you have to pay attention to it in the future. 6 Tianlong persuaded. Solingyu's face was dark and did not speak, her beautiful eyes looked out the window, but Chuandang didn't hear her. Don't keep your face all day, like how much money someone owes you. What a wonderful life, show me a smile. Don't laugh? Then I will give you a smile. 6 Tianlong continued to tease her. 6 Dragons, can you shut up, can you shut up? Solingyu said frantically. 6 Tianlong laughed, and said, people have to communicate with each other. The relationship can be harmonious. If you don't laugh or talk, the atmosphere is more depressing, it will cast a shadow on my petite soul. Okay. You are eloquent, you can speak well, okay. Solingya gritted her teeth, looked at this silly guy, cruelly, and said, you also said just now, resolutely obey my arrangements, now I have a task to hand to you. Although I say, as long as I can do it, I will go through fire and water. 6 Tianlong promised, patted his chest. That's good. There is a cocktail party tonight. Come with me and you will be my boyfriend. Fake boyfriend. Be your fake boyfriend? I said why you want me to be the assistant to the president. I originally wanted me to be your shield, so that I can match my identity better. But it sounds pretty good. 6 Tianlong was happy, thinking about it and asking, then be your fake boyfriend, can you hold your little hand and hug your waist, and play with you happily? No. If you dare to touch me again, I will never let you go. Solingyu said viciously, she felt sick when she thought of being crazy with this guy all night. Then don't do it. Whoever loves to go to whomever. 6 Tianlong firmly shook his head. Solingyu gritted her teeth and said, do you want to do it? Don't do it. 6 Tianlong did not waver and added, don't do it to death. Solingyu really wanted to rush to strangle this bastard. Well, if we need some time, we can have a little physical contact. This will also prevent others from suspicion. Solingyu cruelly made concessions, but I must get my consent. It's almost the same. 6 Tianlong was satisfied and said, okay, then I will be wronged and be your fake boyfriend. Solingyu is itchy with hatred, are you still wronged? I wronged your face. I am your fake boyfriend now. Will there be a chance to get a good job in the future? 6 Tianlong joked while driving. Solingyu snorted coldly and said, dreaming, don't even think about it in this life. That's not necessarily true, I will get you sooner or later. 6 Tianlong looked like he was holding the winning ticket. What do you want? You have got my body. Solingyu said angrily. It is not important to get the body, the important thing is to get your heart. Tianlong looked serious. Solingyu moved in her heart. With your heart, you will be able to unlock more positions. 6 Tianlong showed an extremely yearning look. Solingyu really wanted to crash and die with this bastard. The car drove directly to Arirang Plaza, and Solingyu took 6 Tianlong directly to the Armani counter on the 18th floor. She had told Tianlong just now that she shouldn't wear this tattered body to the reception, and she would buy him a new set of clothes. The two entered the franchise store a few steps apart. "Miss, what can I do for you?" A female shopping guide greeted So Lingyu and followed her respectfully. These people have become elites. You can see a person's purchasing power by looking at a person's temperament and clothes. This girl can see at a glance that So Lingyu belongs to the type of gold master and must be taken care of. "Hello sir, this is the Armani counter, what can I do for you?" Another shopping guide was in charge of receiving 6 Tianlong, stood in front of him, blocked his way in, and bowed slightly professionally. She just glanced quietly, and immediately put 6 Tianlong into the role of just wandering around without buying it. He probably couldn't compare to the cheapest pair of pants in his clothes. "Miss, your clothes are quite expensive here." 6 Tianlong smiled, not caring about the attitude of the shopping guide at all. The most common piece of clothing costs several thousand yuan, usually people with relatively high spending power. The shopping guide was a little absent-minded. 6 Tianlong was surprised and said, "How many thousands of dollars a piece of clothing? Oh my god, my little driver can't afford it, but if someone can give me a set, it would be great." The female shopping guide was speechless, thinking, "I still hope that others will give me a set too." Looking at So Lingyu over there, she moved very quickly. After a while, the shopping guide had taken several pieces of clothes, from tops to trousers to socks to shoes. "Miss, you are really insightful. These are the latest models from us. Are you buying them for your boyfriend? It's so happy to be your boyfriend." The female shopping guide complimented that this sale must be sold. The commission can get thousands of dollars. It's very happy to be his boyfriend? Girl, you can look miserable. Being her boyfriend is very sad. No, it is quite sad. The 6 Tianlong not far away sighed. "Mr. Driver, if you don't want to buy clothes, please go out, don't hinder our customers." The female shopping guide beside 6 Tianlong frowned. "What's wrong with the driver? She is your guest, but I am not your guest. Besides, I didn't wrong her. Her boyfriend can't even enter the door when she is here. Isn't she sad?" 6 Tianlong teased. The female shopping guide was choked and had nothing to say, thinking that 6 Tianlong was probably deliberately looking for faults, which is very common in business. She hugged her shoulders and sneered, "If you don't buy anything, please leave. If you don't leave, I will call the security guard. It doesn't need to be like this. It's all poor, so why bother the poor? I don't buy anything, but my girlfriend buys it for me." 6 Tianlong reached out and pointed at So Lingyu. The female shopping guide sneered, thinking that this guy can really joke. "Is that your girlfriend? My boyfriend is Bill Gates and his grandson. Which so much nonsense? Go in and try on clothes." So Lingyu gave him a vicious look inside. The female shopping guide with heavy makeup was suddenly stunned. "Nima, this turtle driver, really the boyfriend of that goddess?" "Sir, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean that." The female shopping guide hurriedly explained. 6 Tianlong shrugged, and walked toward the fitting room, and smiled and said, "It's okay, I just teased you just now, don't be nervous. But you can be careful in the future, you can't be so poor and rich. These years, I wear okay, it doesn't have to be a rich person, badly dressed, like me, well, it's really no money." The crowd was messy. I have to say that people rely on clothes, horses and saddles, wearing a neat grey suit, wearing shiny brand name leather shoes, and the handsome 6 denim. After getting dressed, it makes people shine. Good figure and handsome face, coupled with the evil smile on his face now, made several shopping guides pretend to be a nymphomaniac. So Lingyu couldn't help but move her heart. She didn't show mercy on her lips, took out her gold card to pay the bill, and hummed, "It's so normal, you won't be able to tell the taste in any clothes." "I think so too. The main reason is that the clothes are too low grade, so I can barely wear them." 6 Tianlong agreed. So Lingyu had nothing to say. No matter what, she was always injured in the end. 6 Tianlong looked at the mirror and it was stinky enough, and he waved his hand. Thank you to pack up the clothes I have just now, and I want to take them away. Don't look at me like that. I just wore those pants for $10. Back. So Lingyu really wanted to put a sign on her head, I don't know this bastard. When she came out of the mall, So Lingyu asked Lu Tianlong to drive home, and she had to go back and change her clothes. Mirongwaner's little girl happened to be at home. Wearing pajamas lying on the sand and reading novels, his chest is squeezed into 2 flat volleyballs, and the neckline is white, which makes people spit out nose from the front. Yeah, our Hakiro is here? It's really energetic to wear today. The little girl's eyes lit up, and she smiled. Ba Lang. So Lingyu was a little confused. That's right. Yajiro, or Hakiro for short, you know. 6 Tianlong said with a chest out. Go to hell. So Lingyu gritted her teeth, then went back to the house angrily to change her clothes. Miss Warner, don't move, just keep this posture. It's your own family, I don't mind how you feel comfortable. I don't mind, I'm anxious if you want to get up. 6 Tianlong greeted Mirongwaner, and when she saw that she wanted to get up, he quickly persuaded her sincerely. If you really want to sit up, you won't see the volleyball squashed in front of her. Okay, then I won't tell you any more. Mirongwaner didn't know 6 Tianlong's colorful intestines, and continued to read on her stomach, there are Coke and milk in the refrigerator, so take whatever you want to drink. Let's drink milk. 6 Tianlong went to the refrigerator to take a can of milk, walked to Shangguanwaner and sat down, took a sip of milk, glanced at the volleyball, and kept nodding in praise, well, good milk. Ayo, you are drinking mine. Sister Ling Yu's milk tastes better. It's a pity that I'm done drinking. Shangguanwaner looked up and said casually. It's your milk, so Ling Yu's milk is better. 6 Tianlong almost squirted out, these 2 little girls are still married, this is not scientific. Yet. Mine was bought in the city. Sister Ling Yu's was brought back from the prairie on a trustee. It is much better than mine. Is there any problem? Mirongwaner asked with a strange look. No problem. I just think you are actually pretty good. 6 Tianlong shook his head quickly, saying that he was really evil. But he felt that So Lingyu knew about this, so he shouted into the bedroom, So Lingyu, Waner said your milk is delicious. Let me taste it when you have time. Damn, there was the sound of heavy objects hitting the door in the bedroom.